Good morning and welcome to Fig Tree Independent School, a small school based in East London in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. We have a very unique approach to schooling. We limit our classes to a maximum of 15 in a classroom to each teacher. And in some of our classes, when we've got 10 and above, we actually have assistants as well. So we believe in individual attention, we believe in individualized education programs, and obviously a holistic development. So I know I'm here to introduce our high school and how that exactly works, because it's definitely not a traditional classroom with one teacher giving all the information out there. It's a very unique approach. So the first thing I'd like to say is it is an online platform. So what we do is we use homeschooling programs such as Think Digital Academy, MobiMax, Teneo, UCT Online. The choice of that program is actually up to you as the parent, and we do help and guide you with that choice as well. And we support your child as they work through that program individually. So what they do is they work online, they get to watch the lessons in their own timing. If they are struggling with the lesson, they can redo the lesson. Whereas in a normal classroom, if your child is sitting there and they don't understand the lesson, the teacher doesn't always have the opportunity to repeat the lesson. They sometimes have to move on because of sort of limits set by the curriculum and by the size of the classroom as well. And sometimes you also have the other end of it where a child understands the lesson, they are ready to move on and go to the next topic or the next learning outcome. And unfortunately, the teacher can't just move on because they must stick in the correct timing with the curriculum, or they have children that they need to support. So a traditional classroom, it has their pros and cons. So what we like to do is we use the online platform to get the learning in, and the children are able to rewatch the lesson. They can progress at their own timing. They can rewatch if they're struggling. They can move ahead quickly if they're doing well in an outcome. And then if they are struggling, we have a tutor in the high school class that also supports them. So they can also go and ask the tutor for any help, and they're able to actually give them one-on-one lessons, which is very, very unique compared to traditional schooling. So we actually like to call it hybrid learning, because we're taking the best of homeschooling and the best of a traditional classroom, and we're putting it together to make quite a beautiful system. And we know that there are a lot of sort of cottage schools, or they call them academies as well. And unfortunately with those, they are not in line with the South African Schools Act. So with our system, we are an independent school that is working with the Education Department. And because of that, we are in line with the South African Schools Act. So according to the Schools Act, your child can, the learning must happen at a government school, must be an independent school, which is what we fall under, and it must be, or could be homeschooled, but it must be at their home address. It can't be homeschooled at another address or on auntie's house or something like that. So we feel that not only are we legal, but we are also presenting a system that is very, very good for your child. Now, something else I'd like to touch on before I explain how our system works is besides going through the usual curriculum at our particular school, which makes us very, very unique, we also have what we call the extra skills classes. So once a week from grade 1 and up, and our grade R's have actually started something interesting now as well. But from grade 1 and up, they have a weekly cooking class, they have a weekly agricultural skills class, and the cooking class sometimes will alternate with sewing, and it also alternates sometimes with building, depending on the projects that we have on the farm. So we feel like they get exposed to a lot more than just the government curriculum or just the curriculum that they are set to do. So your child will actually leave our school a lot more equipped than what they would at any other system. So we are very proud of what we present and what we're able to put together. And we know our fee structure in particular is very competitive compared to a lot of schools. So let me move on to our actual platforms now. So in our actual classroom, your child will need to come to the high school class with their own device. It doesn't have to be anything fast or complicated. It can be a very basic laptop. It can be a basic tablet as well. There's no restriction on there as long as it, if it can, for example, go onto YouTube and stream a video, you are set, you are good to go. I would encourage parents not to go towards a Chromebook, simply because some of the platforms don't support a Chromebook anymore. But a Windows laptop is probably your best bet if you can try and find something like that. So Windows laptop that can stream YouTube, you're set, you're good to go. And so we've got our different platforms. So the two main ones that I find that parents use is MobiMax, and the other one is Think Digital Academy. So I'm going to start with Think Digital Academy. Think Digital Academy is a very good program that allows you to work through the same CAPS curriculum, the government curriculum that they've been doing through their primary school years. And it is probably the most affordable program. There's definitely things that I would like to change, and I know they are slowly improving and changing their system, but they are the most affordable system that will allow you to carry on working through the CAPS curriculum. So they also have online lessons, they do their assessments online as well, and obviously when they get to grade 10 to 12, they actually write on physical scripts that get scanned in and sent off, and it's marked externally. And what I like about that is I feel it prepares them very well to write the National Senior Certificate exam, so they can get their matric certificate when they finish. So I'm going to show you a few clips of Think Digital in a moment. And the other program that I know a lot of our parents use is called MobiMax. So MobiMax is a pre-GED program. So if your child, you want your child to go into sort of engineering, medicine, they want to be a mathematician, I would definitely say Think Digital is a better option and using CAPS. Then you've got GED. So GED is based on the American program. With a GED certificate, when they actually finish, they can still go to university, but there are certain university courses that might require them to do like an entry exam or something like that before they actually start their course. So it's not a bad program. It's not by all means an easy program. It really depends on your child, and I'm happy to sit with parents individually to help you decide on which is the best program. I don't want to give you a profile of which type of child would do any particular course because everyone is very unique. So MobiMax, it focuses on GED. It covers 4 main subjects. So you've got maths, you've got language, you've got social studies, and you've got science. So they don't do an additional language, and they don't do life skills like you do in your CAPS curriculum with Think Digital, but they do cover 4 main core subjects which are quite vital. What is quite tricky about that program is the social studies will look at the American history and American geography, as opposed to CAPS is obviously very South African based. But at the end of the day, your child will get a certificate and they're able to study at a tertiary institution when they've completed it. So MobiMax prepares them. They've got to get their 4 subjects up to a level 9. As they work through the program is very good at identifying where they've got gaps in their knowledge and making them repeat certain lessons that they might have missed at primary school or they didn't understand. And it lets them progress in their individual manner to get to level 9 for each subject. When they finish MobiMax and they get to level 9, in the year that they turn 17, we do the actual GED course. So the actual GED course summarizes, it goes through the 4 subjects very quickly, and when they have got, it's normally about a 75% for each subject, they are allowed to go and write the exam, and once they've written the 4 exams for each subject, so 1 exam per subject, they then are awarded with their GED certificate. So it's equivalent to matric in a way, but as I mentioned earlier, there are some courses that might require them to do a bridging course before they start that course. So GED is nice if you want to get your child through the system, you want to get them a qualification, and maybe they're going to move into something more skills-based as opposed to something more academic-based like what you would do with CAPS. That's a loose explanation, but in saying that, it doesn't mean that the course is any easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some screenshots in a moment of the different programs. What I like about it, I know as the tutor who watches over the high school class, all of these online programs are really great because most of them actually have a tutor portal where, for instance, I could log in and I could see exactly how the children are doing. I can see what lessons they are struggling with. I can see how their assessments went. I can reassign lessons if I'm not happy with things. It means there's accountability. So instead of them just being left at home with the internet, with a device and doing who knows what, there is support. There is someone who can watch over them and guide them as well. And I think that is very vital. in the success of this program. You need to have an adult that is guiding them and supporting them. All right, so this is Think Digital Academy. This is their website. If you just Google search Think Digital Academy, this will pop up. And you can see they have lots of information. If you scroll through the menu, they also cover the British International curriculum. So if you have a child that would like to do their IEB, they can do it here. They can also do their GED through Think Digital as well. And they also have some short courses. So they've got coding and robotics, social media, they've got all sorts of things. And obviously their fee structure, which I'm going to go through in a moment. So what I like about Think Digital, if you see at the top here, they also have an option for your child to do a free trial. So if you're not too sure, you can actually sign up. You get 2 weeks for free to peruse, go through the system and see if your child would actually enjoy it. I personally tested this about 5 years ago with my own son. He then was in grade R, and we went through the program, and I wanted to see if he'd enjoy it, if he felt engaged, and he did. He spoke really highly of it, which I quite enjoyed. So yeah, they're talking about their three curriculums that they cover, and it's really a detailed site that has a lot of information. I also find you can see their contacts. They're very good at getting back to you. So I know if I see an error on one of the lessons, I normally report it, and they have it fixed pretty quickly. So I enjoy their feedback and their support that they get. So if we go over here to curriculum, something else I'd like to show you. So obviously the CAPS curriculum is what we think most people would use this system for. If I look at FET, so this is grade 10 to 12, I want to show you the subject choices over here. So at a traditional school, you would have subject specialists who would take each one of these subjects. And a school can only hire so many teachers. So if you've got your subject specialist who majored in, let's say, economics and maths, it doesn't mean that they're able to teach both of those subjects at the same time. So what ends up happening at each school is they have a set roster of how they select their subjects and how children can actually choose their subjects. So, for instance, I'm sure some of you remember when you were at high school, they had blocks. So in this block, you'd have to choose between geography and history. And you couldn't choose both if you wanted both. But with Think Digital Academy, because it's all online, you can choose the exact subjects that you want to do without any restrictions. So I quite like that because it means the children get a lot more freedom to choose and specialize in what they are gifted at, as opposed to being limited by the school system. All right. Okay. So this is showing me the tutor's profile. So each learner's one is slightly different, but it's got the same format. So over here, this is, for example, what a grade 9 would see. So on their dashboard, they've got each subject. If they're to click on one of their subjects, they can see each lesson that they've got to work through. And you can see they've even got some practice assessments as well, study notes. And of course, they've got their assessments for their term. From up to grade 9, they do all their assessments online. It's marked, for most of them, it's marked instantly. And then from grade 10 and up, they actually have to write in scripts, and then they have an invigilation app that watches them, and then it sends it off to make sure that it was done correctly. Then what I really would like to show is the weekly reports. So over here, this is something that you as the parent, myself as the tutor, we all get access to these weekly reports. So I can see here exactly what time a child logged on, how long they were on the dashboard for, how long they were on for each lesson, and I can see throughout the day what they were doing. What I like about this is that it tells me if they spent too much time on a subject, it tells me they were either working really, really hard, or it tells me that they perhaps didn't understand it and I need to assist them with that. And the same if it's too little. I mean, like I can see in this one over here, they were on one particular page for only a second, but that was a menu. It wasn't an actual lesson. So if I saw they were spending too little time on a particular lesson, that also told me maybe I should ask them questions. So this sort of feedback really, really helps guide the tutor in ensuring that good learning is taking place. Okay, so over to this. This is MobyMax. So MobyMax, as I said, was a pre-GED program. It's very similar to Think Digital. All the lessons happen online, and this is what I get to see as the tutor. So I get a lot of information. I'm not going to go into that depth with you now, but I just want to show you the type of support that I can offer them. So over here, it's got an option for differentiated learning. So I personally, the program automatically will pick up where there are gaps in their learning, and it will reassign lessons. But in differentiated learning, I can go in there and look at their 4 subjects, and I can also pick up, okay, they only understood 68% of this lesson. They should probably redo it. Or this lesson, oh, they got 90%, so they can move on for this. So I can see detailed information of every single lesson that they do, each activity, and whether they need to repeat it or move on, or maybe I just need to check in with them. With assessments, I can give them placement tests or benchmarking tests. So maybe they find the content is extremely easy. I'll find some of the children who did really well at maths and English, they'll find the GED level maths in the beginning, especially level 1, it's very simple. And so I can set benchmark tests then that will ask them a varied level of questions, and then it will actually move their level up to where they are, instead of making them work through all the content and wasting time. So that is really, really helpful. And likewise, on the other end of the scale, if a child is really battling, maybe it was holidays and they've forgotten the work, I can give them a placement test and we can see what they've forgotten and perhaps need to redo. And then by interactive class, this is quite fun. Every time they do well or they've worked a good amount of time, they get points, and their points can be exchanged for games. So what I like about this, it's games that are through the actual program. Some of them are educational, but in the end, it's on a control platform. They're not just downloading any game off the internet. It is through MobiMax, and it's something that they have to earn. So it's giving them some incentive as well. We even have some group games, so I can set up all the kids on MobiMax on the class can do games against each other. And they quite enjoy having that because they feel like they're engaging with each other more, you know. Okay, so another thing on MobiMax, as the tutor, I get to see a dashboard for each child. So I can see over here in the last 30 days, how much time was spent on each subject. So there's some other subject that also help them grow. I can see over time the levels as they move up. It's very small there, but this is going from level 2 to 8. It obviously goes up to level 9. And I can see, okay, this one is not really progressing. They need to work a little bit more, and I can adjust their individual timetable on that as well. So I'm going to show you maths over here. So this young guy in my class, you can see he's obviously kindergarten level. He's 100%. And he's sort of got some things that he's still tackling in grade 4, not many because he's at 99%. He's got some things level 5 and level 6 and level 7. So it's actually allowed him to move ahead in certain areas, and it's helping him redo and filling gaps with other areas. So whereas in your CAPS curriculum, once you move on, you can't redo a previous lesson, whereas this one allows you to really find key areas that you are struggling with. And this particular young guy, you can see he has absolutely thrived and enjoyed the program. It's worked well with him. He loves putting in the hours. He loves putting in the effort. And we can see he's got a nice graph here that's showing how he's learning. And I also enjoy showing them these graphs and saying, hey, look how well you've done in the last month. You've done this and done that. Or I can say, hang on, we need to spend a little bit more time on social studies. Let's try and focus on this lesson over here. So I find that the feedback, not just for assessments, but the feedback for their lessons is really, really helpful. So yeah, these are the 2 programs that we have. I think I'll just quickly show you the fee structure. So the fees with MobiMax, we actually get a special where it's built into our fees that we actually charge as a school. And obviously those will fluctuate each year, and they're included, so it's not a problem. With Think Digital, this is something, or with Teneo or UCT, whichever one that you go for, there are different options over here. So I'm gonna focus on the South African CAPS curriculum, and I'm gonna do it without tutor support. The difference with that is it means on the program, on Think Digital, they normally have a tutor that you can ask them questions, but it's not a video-based lesson. You have to type a message to them. So I do find that at the moment it's not great. I am hoping that they're going to sort that out, but obviously that's not a problem because in our classroom we have a tutor physically in the class that can help. So
We'll focus on grade 7 to 9 and move all the way up. So grade 7 to 9, they charge, this is their current fee for the year. And you can see as it moves up, it gets a little bit more expensive. If you were to break that down into the cost per month, it's extremely cheap. And you can see they've got supplementary subjects if you want to do more than what is there. With grade 10 to 12, there are additional fees because now they're writing exit level exams. So you can see they've got different costs involved there with writing your NSC. And that is it. They've got short courses, they've got clubs, as we mentioned earlier. That is pretty much our system. But obviously, if you'd like to ask questions or you're not too sure on the program that you would like to use, you're more than welcome to make contact with the school, and we can help guide you through that. MobiMax is definitely more affordable because you're only paying the school fee, and Think Digital is your cheapest CAPS curriculum that you could work at. But even in saying that, as we saw now, the fees were really not that expensive. All right, I hope that helps, and please let me know if you have any further questions. Have a lovely day.